everybody. Hey, welcome
Hello,
back.
hello. Hey, welcome back. Thank
Glad
you,
you're
thank you,
here.
thank you. Hi, Tim.
Hey, Zana, what are you doing?
Hey, not a whole lot. I just finished up my morning situation and I am ready to dive into what are we, feeling like we want to talk about today. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
me too. I'm excited to be here, and I thought um, we could talk about ways to find staff because that seems to be on the forefront of everyone's mind today. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I keep hearing that still a whole lot. I feel like a lot of people are still like in the middle of advertising. I see a whole lot of signs everywhere where I go. It's like help wanted, and a bunch of ads are popping up all over the place and stuff. So I do feel like people are still in the need of looking for staff. So I think that's a great topic. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
great.
dive in.
Yeah, do you want to start?
Sure. So, how do we find staff? Like a lot of people that own restaurants, country clubs, casinos, hotels, whatever, or any other business, therefore, are still saying that we are still looking for staff. And what is the solution? How can we find staff, right?
Mhm.
And I do want to bring up a few ideas that I think could be very helpful. So for one, I feel like how can we find staff is the obvious ways, right? Like we can use all of our social media platforms where we can completely advertise for free, which is fantastic. Which people do, right? Like you see it all over. You see it on Instagram, you see it on Facebook, you see it on any kind of platform. So you can, post free ads on Craigslist. You can, maybe have a cool conversation with the local newspaper in your town, in your city, in your county. You can invite them for a nice lunch to your restaurant and kind of like, wheel them in right away. Show also what you're serving on food, display your beautiful place, display maybe your cool environment and stuff, and then maybe even get a little ad out of it for the newspaper. Like that could be one way, and if you don't know
Good idea.
anybody, yeah, maybe if you don't know anybody in your county or whatever, just ask friends and family. And if not, just be bold, like literally just go online, look up what's my what's my local newspaper, and just give them a call and see how this could go down, because nobody's going to refuse a nice plate of food.
Nobody is. Nobody is.
Nobody is. Or a nice cocktail.
I absolutely. Um, yeah, similar to that, one of the ways I've actually gotten two jobs in my life by being a frequent customer or guest of a restaurant, and they liked
Mhm.
me and I liked them, and they were like, "Hey, we need someone. Will you come work?" So I think not overlooking your best guests as almost as a way to find employees. You know that they like hanging out at your place, so see if they want to come in and work.
Yeah, either that or even just take it a step further and be like, hey, do you have any grandkids? Do you have anybody in the family? Do you have anybody that is interested? Like, I feel like as owners, it's always a good thing if we're just really transparent, right? Like
Oh yeah.
fundamentally, we all are humans. We all go through a bunch of stuff in life, good, bad, ugly, all of that. And it's just really okay to just completely be honest and just completely be, transparent in saying basically like, hey, I'm looking for staff. Do you happen to know anybody that would be interested? And stuff, so that could be another way, involving, like you said, long-term guests, or like taking it a step further, even talking to your staff about it, putting up rewards programs of like, hey, if you bring somebody in, I'll give you a Starbucks gift card, or something, just extending your horizon of not the normal ways how we usually used to find staff, or really back in the days prior COVID, people coming to our spot and
Yeah.
asking for a job, but also just taking it to the next level, or just really, if you have a little bit of time, just walk down the street, just walk down the street and just, whenever you are grocery shopping, whenever you are connecting with people, whenever, you tell your kids, hey, you're going to the movies and you connect to your friends here, put that out there, or just, any kind of way that could kind of like help bring people to you.
Hmm.
But I feel like the most valuable point at this moment is, if you already do have staff, is, and you guys know I'm all about the training, so I'm
Training and
sorry to
retention.
be sounding like a old record here,
Yep.
but use what you have, like use the people that you already have and make them, train them to perfection, because a lot of people always think like, oh, I need this 1,000 people on my floor to make it work, when really you really don't. You know, if you have 3 good waiters in your spot, and at this point, I really don't care how many people you do for lunch. I don't care how many covers you have for dinner. If you have really 3 great people on your team and they know exactly what you're doing and they're selling the heck out of your stuff, just polish them, just appreciate them, just, you know, really pour more into the people that you already have. And if you have somebody that has somewhat of a potential, be present in your spot. You know, you like people, you got to understand, you have to be present these days. It's no more this, I'm gonna come every week to pick up the check, pick up the revenue my establishment is making. It's literally, you got to be involved, right? Like you got to be there. You have to really reinvest your time, and maybe people in your family have to, you know, take a little bit of a backseat for just a moment here to, you know, keep things moving again. But fundamentally, just if you already have staff, just train them, bring fresh air in, you know, like promote them, create programs for them where they feel they're involved, you know, like come up with like an equity program where you give them a tiny bit of share of the entire revenue if you want to, or there's so many other ways.
Oh, there
Right.
is. There's even a company I was here, I heard about called Fringe, where
Oh,
one thing, I was talking to an HR specialist for restaurants, and she said um, today's Gen Z does not care so much about health insurance. They
mhm.
care more about things like getting their Netflix paid. So there's a
Oh,
company called Fringe who will let you set up like stipend accounts or fringe benefit accounts, and they can then pick anything they want that money to go towards, whether it's the gym, Netflix, Hulu, anything like that. And
what
that's
a
really successful wherever they try it.
how nice. I think that's a great idea. I mean, that's very new. You know, I've never heard of anything like that, at least in my career of being you know, a regular waiter or just regular any position working for somebody.
Me either.
But I can tell you, I would have appreciated that at one point in my life where I was like, oh dang, how do I pay this cable bill? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
make this work, you know? And so I think that's great ways of just, you know, again, putting stuff out there because it's all about giving and receiving,
Yep.
right? And we all know that, you know, we give, we receive, and it's a nice, you know, what like German people, they say one hand washes the other,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And so that's really like a good concept, you know, just really find new ways, be creative, think out of the box, like do the unusual stuff, do the things that you normally would never do. Go to a library, just start talking to people, for instance, you know, like job fairs. You as an employer, go to job fairs. When you see anywhere a job fair, anything, you go and join the job fair too. Start talking to people,
Yeah.
take a little flyer of your space, you know, take like a little menu with your space, even better, have something already catered. And when the people come out or in break time, hey, this is my restaurant. Do you need a job?
There you go.
You
That's a
know,
great
there's
idea. Yeah.
at these points, you know, literally, like we gotta invest a little bit more and we gotta do things a little bit differently, because if we always do what we always done, we will always get what we always got.
Yeah. We'll
And
have the same
it's, you
problems.
know, right. And it's really right now, the time is really like to think outside of the box, you know, and even maybe owners sometimes we're not really discussing business stuff at home. Maybe it is time to discuss business at home. Maybe your spouse has a wonderful idea that you never thought of, or even your children or your grandma or whoever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, totally agree. Totally agree. And I
Yeah.
think the only other thing I would add is that the for retention, one thing that hurts retention and that I've seen as an accountant that people always focus on and ask me for is their labor as a percent of sales, labor cost as a
Okay.
percent of sales. And it's a horrible metric. There's much better productivity metrics out there, but I'm not going to give it to you guys. You got to comment below and I'll get in touch and tell you all about it. But it has to do with total spend. It has to do with the number of
Mm.
covers. It has to do with the number of people that work. And there's much better ways to figure out productivity than labor cost as a percent of sales. And that really, you know, when you start trying to meet labor percent and you cut harder and harder, you're causing burnout. You're causing your staff to look for other jobs, and
Right.
it's just a bad situation all around.
Right. And I feel like that's where people like kind of like a little bit torn in between, you know, like I have staff, but not enough. And I don't want to work them too hard because I don't want them to leave me.
Yeah.
But this is where we suggest that if that's the scenario that you may be going through, is just really to be open and transparent with your staff too.
Yep.
You know, because the more you are really just open and honest about your actual situation, the more people will bring grace to you and understanding. But if they feel blindsided, if they feel they're not included, and if they feel they get no answers, then it's kind of like difficult for people to build trust with you, because it's like, let me know what's happening. Only if I know what's happening, I can have the choice of deciding if that's something I want to do, and B, now that I know what's happening, I'm maybe able to even have my own ideas, you know. So it's always good to keep like a nice open, you know, communicative circle between you and your staff, where it's like, hey, this is what's happening, you guys, you know, I appreciate all of you being here, but I do need help, you know. And it's okay. It's totally okay to be, as an owner, as the boss, to say, I got problems, you know, like I have a problem. Like it's okay to be not okay, you know. So
yeah, no, I think that I think we did a good job there summing it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, as always, if you guys have anything to say, please, we would appreciate any comment, you know, put it down below, chime in the conversation. We always want to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions. And if we forgot anything and you have a better idea or you have something to add, put it down below.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See you next time.
Next time.